Squad. Geek Squad.
It's 9 minutes after 7. My name is Kobe Spiking Nkrumah. You're tuned in to Joy 99.7 FM. If you didn't know, well, now you know. And at this time, it means that we're here to talk technology. If you didn't know, because we gave a prologue prior to the show, telling you what we're about to discuss and everything. But some people probably weren't tuned in and they just tuned in. If you're in your car, if you're at home, wherever you are listening to us right now, it's the Joy Geek Squad. Then, at this point, you should be like, hey, everybody's like excited because we're about to talk tech. Do people get excited because we're about to talk tech? Yeah, they are.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Well, we're more exciting than football. I mean, come on. Aren't we?
Excited?
Yeah. Aren't we more exciting than football?
I personally believe we are.
Yeah.
It may be a bias.
And we're actually even more exciting than politics. Yeah. I think the world would be better if we talk tech all the time. If the whole country was run by tech and not politics.
That is going into a very interesting. I think you should watch Psycho Pass. You might find that very interesting.
Yeah. I would rather the world was run by robots at this point.
Well, then I think you enjoy Psycho Pass.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather something I could turn off.
If you can turn it off, sure.
Why not?
Okay.
Made by humans, turnable off by humans.
Okay.
Anyways, yes. So we're here to talk about football tech because we're about to go into World Cup season. If you are a fan of football, if you're a fan of sports, if you're a fan of anything that has to do with people running after a ball and people cheering and people betting and people getting blood pressure because their teams are getting scored.
You mean people investing?
Oh yeah, they're investing.
We don't bet anymore, please.
It's. Oh, someone actually sent a message sometime ago. What did he say?
I think
it was like sports
investment.
Yeah. So all that, it's stuff that people do. People really love sports. It's funny how a lot of techies, tech bros, and tech sisters. What do you call? There's tech bros.
Yeah.
So what? Tech sisters.
I guess.
Yeah. Or tech aunties. So yeah, the tech community seems to not be very fascinated with sports.
I beg to differ.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a motorsport enthusiast. So
Yeah, I'm just not a sports enthusiast because I can't stand the anxiety of watching a sports. Okay, maybe because it's sort of ingrained that you have to have a favorite.
bro,
I understand, are probably watching it just analytically. I don't think you have a favorite, do you?
in Formula One, yeah, I do.
Who's your favorite in Formula One?
Lewis Hamilton.
So natural, like so obvious. You should have been choosing somebody who's last.
Oh, if you are talking about someone off the cuff that I actually like, is Carlos Sainz.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I'm a Ricciardo guy. I just like the guy. Like this, I just love Ricciardo.
He should pack his tools.
His-
The time as well.
I don't care. I just like the guy. Anyways, football. We're talking about football. What's your favorite team, Winston?
So, I was talking about this before. Let me give some pretext. My favorite footballer of all time.
I didn't say it was your favorite footballer.
Relax.
I said your favorite
It leads
team.
into
Okay.
my team.
Yo.
Favorite footballer of all time is Zinedine Zidane. And
Because
because
of
of
the
that,
headbutting.
No. I fell in love with him France '98
Wow.
Yes, and I followed him in Juve, then to
Wow.
Real Madrid. So
Right.
my favorite team is Real Madrid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite team is Juventus. Why are you laughing?
What are the odds?
What are the odds that Juventus is my favorite team? So, same way you like Zinedine Zidane, I like Alejandro Del Piero.
Okay.
Yeah, and when we used to play International Superstar Soccer, ISS Pro Evolution 2, winning 11, before it became Pro Evolution Soccer.
Yeah.
You know, for y'all who are
The young
noobs
peeps.
in the football gaming industry, yeah, we were the ones that were playing the kuf kuf and evolved with it.
Yeah.
The only reason why I liked football on video games is because I had control over the game. I had control over the outcome. I don't follow football because any team I support loses. Yes. As a result, most people ask me to support the team they want to lose. Because if I support that team is going to lose. I used to support Akara Suffolk, then they'll lose to Kotoko. Now I'm going to support Kotoko, then Kotoko will lose to Akara. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this. Support Ghana, Black Stars, and they'll lose. So, yeah, just for the sake of all patriotic Ghanaians, I will not support Black Stars in the coming World Cup just for your sanity, just for your sake, just for your blood pressure's sake. I'll keep my jinx, my virus to myself and just support my gadgets wherever I am. Because the moment I support Ghana, we'll come house. Trust me. So if you say we come house, because I watch one match. It's because I watch just one match. Anyway, so we'll be talking about so many new technologies that are being introduced in the world of soccer and the world of football. For those who are in the American world who call it soccer, and those who are in the European world who call it football.
Yes.
So yeah, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, the non-football guys are going to be discussing football. How interesting. And we'll be getting a football person to join us. We'll be right back.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
It's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
"Shout!" I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information.
MTN.
A World Cup of innovation, all the technological revolutions at Qatar 2022. Yes. You know how that sounded? 22 people chasing one ball. How? That's what's going to happen in the World Cup in Qatar. But there's going to be a lot of technological innovations, and we're happy to see it.
Yeah. I actually read the article and I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Actually,
Have you ever been to a stadium before?
No.
To watch a football match?
I've been to a stadium when it's empty. I'm not gonna watch.
Okay, so I've been to a stadium, and coincidentally there was a football match.
Yeah. Okay.
And where I found myself was very hot. It was very heated,
Yeah.
both figuratively and literally.
Literally.
Yeah. So you've seen. No, I can't say this on air, but yeah, the kind of vocals, the kind of cheering that.
I mean, if you are saying this, that means it's like, do you know what charging is?
Oh yeah. For
Yeah.
tech.
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. So it's kind of like charging. On Friday night, I always see the boys sweating and
Yeah, it was a very charged atmosphere.
yeah.
It does get charged. So we are joined by Fento, Tahiru Fento, who's a sports journalist here at the Multimedia Group. And because Winston and I
Are heavily biased against football.
and handicapped when it comes to football, we know absolutely next to nothing about the game, except when we are playing FIFA.
I don't play that either.
I play FIFA and
I
I
don't.
kick people's, behinds in the game. I'm actually very good at it when I have to be.
It gives me a headache, bro.
No, I'm good because I don't play with a formation. I don't understand anything. I don't know who's on the field. All I know is run, score.
Okay.
So that's one day I'm good at it. Anyways, hi, Fento. Hi.
Hey man, how are you?
I'm good. Great to have you join us.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure.
Great. So, Qatar 2022. We hear it's going to be the World Cup of innovation when it comes to football because I remember one of the things that I struggled to understand when I was younger was offside.
I still struggle, bro.
Well, now I understand it.
I don't.
But I remember asking my uncle, what is offside? And he always would have to go and start, we have onside. I'm like, no, I didn't ask you for that. So what is offside? And it was very difficult for him to explain it until playing the game FIFA, I understood. Yes. But now I've seen that with a lot more technology, we're going to be understanding some of the things that would be trivial to those who don't understand the game. It's actually very weird to think that some people don't understand the game football. But I think now...
I don't think even the football fans know what offside is properly.
Are you serious? No, they
no,
know.
because I say this because anytime there's someone, okay, I'm sure team biases come into play, but when there's an offside, everybody is like, it's not an offside, it's an offside, and it begins to feel like it's an arbitrary decision by the referee. So from what we read, it seems like there's some work on that.
Yes. So, first, I'm going to use my personal explanation. You tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Yeah.
And then you would explain to us what it is and what new technology is going to come to add to it. So, my understanding of offside is that the last player going into the 18 box beats all the players of the other team before the ball is launched to him. Do you get it? So, before the ball is passed to him, there's no player before him, between him and the keeper. Am I making sense? So there has to be a player between him and the keeper, or he has to be in line with a player of the opposite side when the ball is passed to him. So he's before the ball. Why are you looking at me like you don't understand this, Winston?
You let's continue. Let's just...
Wait, Fento, did I explain it right?
You were close.
So all my
you
plenty
were
talking. Okay, please explain
you
to
were
us
close.
what offsides are.
Yeah, but offside it's probably a more practical thing for many people than something theoretical, something that they can explain in vivid terms. So, but it's a law of the game, and the idea behind the offside law is to ensure that we don't have players just sitting in the opposition goal area waiting for the ball all match. Because without the offside law,
Achunaye.
exactly, without the offside law, some lazy players could just decide that I am not going to do anything else on the pitch. I'm just going to stand next to the goal post until they pass the ball to me, and then I nick it into the back of the net. So, of course, FIFA came up with the law, and the offside law basically says that a player is deemed to be in an offside position if any part of their body that they can use to score a goal is beyond the last defender of the opposition at the time his own teammate is passing the ball to him. Right. So at any given time, your own teammate is passing the ball to you. Any part of used to score a goal must be either in line or before the last opposition defender. If any part of your body is beyond the opposition defender and it's not your hand, then you're in an offside position. But if it is your hand that is beyond the opposition defender, you obviously cannot use your hand to score. So that part of your body cannot be caught offside. So basically, that is what an offside is.
Right.
Fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah. So I can't believe we are turning this into a football education.
It is indeed, because...
So is this rule in tandem with the ball being in the air? Or does this rule apply even when it hits the pitch, like after the pass has been executed? So is it throughout the pass, or it carries into a little after the pass?
No. It is the...
Now that pass was offside.
That is probably why.
Right.
That is probably why the offside decision has become one of the most controversial decisions in football, because sometimes you can't trust the television cameras and then the people operating the slow motion cameras, okay, or the slow motion device. So sometimes the slow motion will show you at the point when the ball is almost leaving the player's leg. You understand? And the difference between when a player is offside and when they're onside is very minute. Sometimes they call it the size of an armpit. So it can be that small. So if you move that slow motion further forward at the point when the ball is leaving the player's leg, or you bring it a little back at the point when he's initially kicking the ball, that could be the difference between offside and onside. So it is very tricky. And that is probably why this World Cup, FIFA, like they promised back in 2018, are leveraging and harnessing all the technology they can get to ensure that all of these moments that can be left to the discretion of people operating certain machines or human intelligence can all be automated and given to AI, and so therefore at the end of the day there can be no controversy whatsoever. We used to have this problem with the offside with the goal line technology as well. There used to be a time when the ball will bounce off the line so quickly, you and I can't tell by the naked eye whether or not the ball actually crossed the line. But then, of course, FIFA brought in goal line technology, and now the referee is depending on the watch to tell him whether the ball crossed the line or it did not cross the line. And so we no longer have those debates about whether or not the ball crossed the line or it did not. That is where we are heading with the offside rule, with the introduction of the semi-automated offside decision technology that FIFA is introducing at this World Cup.
Great. Now that's a good segue to go into that. So what we read was that they're going to have 12 tracking cameras around the stadium and a sensor inside the ball. We'll get to the ball after that. So first off, 12 cameras. Now, with my techie understanding, that means that it's 4 sides of a pitch. So that means 3 cameras on each side.
Yeah.
If it's projecting about 3, like a trigonometry.
There'll be intersections.
It's really simple. So the football pitch has 4 sides.
Yeah.
So if you put 3 on each side, that's 12. Basically,
Yes.
simple.
Now, we were trying to get it so technical. Like, we're trying to understand how they're going to capture every single angle.
My question is, why isn't there a 13th over the top? More like
There
a
are
bird's
cameras
eye.
over the top. But those are not specifically for tracking the movement of the players. So you have to remember, these 12 cameras are only dedicated to trying to fix offside, the offside situation. So these cameras are only dedicated to the moments when the ball is kicked. So imagine, for example, that all the 12 cameras are only tracking 2 moments of play. You have to remember that it's not tracking every single thing. It's tracking 2 moments of play at the time when the ball is being kicked, and then the movement of the player you are passing the ball to at the opposition end of the pitch. That is exactly what they're tracking. So those 12 cameras are not tracking what is happening in the center of the pitch. They're tracking the movement in the final third at the moment a ball is being kicked into the opposition half, into a striker or any player of your own teammate that is making any movement beyond the opposition defender. So it is a lot of cameras, in my opinion, looking at very limited action, trying to adequately and accurately capture the movement, first of all, the movement of the player, and then the movement of the ball. And that's where you mentioned the sensor that has been put in the ball, because the two work in tandem. So that sensor is communicating at 500 times per second. So which basically is telling us that at any given time the ball is kicked, at any given time the ball is kicked, the football, the sensor in the football is communicating 500 times per second. So there can be no debate whatsoever at which moment the ball was initially kicked. So we now get to avoid a situation where people get to debate, oh, but he kicked the ball here or he kicked the ball there, or at this moment he hadn't kicked the ball yet, so it cannot be offside. That is absolutely solved with this new technology.
This is very interesting.
Very.
Wow.
So my question now is that, do you feel or do you think that these extreme technological advancements will take away some
no,
of the...
leave that. Well, we have a lot more technology.
No, I mean
discuss.
with the offside.
No, wait. I know the question you're about to ask. I was
Okay.
saving it to the end.
Okay, then let me ask
of
my
the
next
conversation.
question.
Yes.
So when the reason I was looking at you, pointedly, when you were defining offside, I was thinking, so why don't they also put trackers in the football boots?
Yeah. Or on the players.
I mean, the players, we need semiconductors to be smaller, because I also thought about that. I was thinking, mocap suits, motion capture suits. It would make sense if all the jerseys were motion capture. So at every point,
where every player is, what
know,
movement they're doing.
Yeah.
And you can legit just even digitally recreate
create the
entire game.
And then we can decide everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
how
it's an
effective
interesting
do you think this is?
Well, actually, the semi-automated offside technology is not the only technology that's being deployed here. It's very important to understand, for example, why this technology became necessary. I mean, you watch football sometimes. I know you're not dedicated football fans. I'm sure you watch football sometimes, and I'm sure you saw in 2018 when FIFA first introduced the video assistant referee technology, VAR, and up to date, if you if you watch the Premier League, for example, you still see more often than not offside decisions being taken using VAR, and then lines are being ruled, and some people accuse the lines of being imaginary. You understand? So that is what FIFA is trying to prevent. So the semi-automated offside technology is just an assistant technology to video assistant referee. So this is an additional technology to VAR. So what is going to be happening, for example, is that so now they've moved away from using VAR to determine just offsides, and now added this technology to use it to determine the offside decisions. Now, if you watch the Champions League, this technology is already being deployed by UEFA.
Right.
And what's happening is that every time a decision is taken with a combination of the data points from the football sensor, and then the information that it sends to the control room and the 12 cameras, the tracking devices, that information is now generated into a 3D kind of animation. And we see that. So with a 3D animation, you can clearly see the point at which the ball is kicked, and then the movement of the player. So it no longer becomes debatable, and that technology has been tested at MIT, has been tested at more than 12 different universities, it's been tested at more than 20 different football matches before we got to this point, and we got to it being deployed at the FIFA World Cup. So, and you asked the question of whether or not it is something that could potentially harm the flow of the game. That was the same debate we had about the VAR. But VAR so the question ultimately that people are asking is, would you rather waste 5 minutes and make a right decision, or make the wrong decision in a split second and then have a controversy after? What would you rather have?
I might be asked. I might be
exactly. So that's ultimately the question. So if we will spend even 5 minutes making the accurate decision, I would go for that than spending a split second in the name of the flow of the game, and then end up making a wrong decision that could potentially become harmful forever. We've had examples in the 1986 World Cup. Diego Maradona scored a goal with his hand. It's become the hand of God. Argentines and everybody else will look back at that incident with a bit of fun and a bit of happiness, because he gave Argentina the World Cup, because he took them to the final and they eventually won. But if you ask every English fan about what they feel about that moment, they would take VAR today and they would waste 1 hour in ensuring that that goal was chopped off rather than having that decision made in a split second and then ultimately seeing them kicked out of the competition. So it's about, I think it's a moral argument. And when you look at the moral argument, ultimately you can always say that with the introduction of technology, if it helps us make the right decisions, then it is the right technology to deploy.
Great. Now, back to the ball.
Wait, one more question.
Okay.
This new offside setup thing with the ball, and does it not slightly make the linesman a little more obsolete?
That's why it's semi-automated.
Right. It's a good question. It's a good
Just
question.
a little bit.
Yeah, but you're right. But obviously, I think what many people forget about the VAR is that it is only deployed, and the same applies for this semi-automated offside technology. Like I said, it is just an additional technology to VAR. It is supposed to help VAR. The whole idea behind VAR is to assist the referees in the cases of, and listen to this carefully, clear and obvious error. So you understand? So you see that the referees are still able to make decisions on fouls, on all these things, and the game is flowing normally. The technology will only be deployed when it becomes very difficult to spot, because some offside decisions are very obvious. You actually do not need the semi-automated offside technology to determine some offside decisions. So they're too obvious. The same way certain fouls in the game, you don't need VAR to review them. You do not, because they're very obvious. Okay, if you go and you slap another player, that's a red card. We don't need VAR to tell us to review that, to tell us that it's a red card. It's a red card. Everyone can see it. You understand? The same with the offside decision. Some offside decisions are so obvious, you don't need the semi-automated technology, semi-automated offside technology. So in those decisions, you still need the assistant referees to be making those offside calls, and the game will be flowing. But when it is super tight, those ones that would cause debates in the bar, on the street, that could result in somebody getting slapped because they don't agree whether it's offside or not. It is for those decisions that this technology will be deployed. It is not for every single decision, you understand?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But isn't the slapping part of the game?
You know, when he mentioned slap, I just went back to 2006 World Cup. Zidane headbutting Materazzi. I mean, deserved,
Right.
but
That you don't need VAR, exactly.
yeah, I mean, if we could get VAR for language, we'd be like, hey, bro.
What did he say? Anyway, but so that makes one last question on this semi-automated referee before we progress. Why is it being called a semi-automated referee? Offside technology? Semi-automated offside technology. Why not fully automated offside technology?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that part. The line was breaking.
Why is it being called a semi-automated offside technology and not fully automated offside technology?
Exactly, for the same reason I just explained. So it's not for every offside decision.
So it's just for a few.
Exactly, it's not for every offside decision. So the offside decisions, some of it is left to this technology. Some of it is left to the linesman or the assistant referees. It's basically that. So it means that the entire offside decision-making process is not automated. It's not given to this technology.
Now back to the ball. It's called Al-Rila or Al-Rila. How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, Al-Rila.
Al-Rila. So apparently it has a sensor in it that helps it track its motion and its position and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And it assists with the offside technology.
Yeah.
What else would it assist with?
It's Arabic. It means the journey.
The journey.
The journey. Yes, it's what it means.
Right.
And yeah, you're right. Adidas produced this ball. This is the first time a tracking device is being inserted into a football. And the reason is for some of these, in fact, is to help with the semi-automated offside technology because the movement of the ball and the data point at which the ball is kicked. All those things are necessary in determining the right movement at which the ball is kicked. And so that technology, that sensor that's in the ball, is to work in tandem to produce the results that we will be getting from the semi-automated offside technology. So all of that is connected into one. It's not for any other purpose. It's for that exact purpose. That's why you will have that sensor in the ball. But if you're talking about technology, so I think one of you mentioned why they weren't installing sensors in the footballers.
The jerseys and the boots.
I think jerseys or football boots or something like that. And I can tell you that this is the first World Cup in the history of the World Cup. By the way, you have to understand that a lot of technology actually goes into the development of football jerseys.
Right.
Okay. There are football jerseys that are developed that should be able to absorb sweat at a certain rate. So all of this technology is tested. Football boots are one of the most innovative industries as far as football is concerned. And we talk about different styles of footballs and the cleats that come with them, the length of the cleats. All these things are very important, and a lot of technology goes into that. But these are for the outside manufacturers coming into the competition. FIFA, on the other hand, this particular World Cup as well, they are living one of their biggest dreams in terms of how technology can help the players in their own performance. So listen to this. FIFA is launching something they call the FIFA Player App at the World Cup. Now, all the players that have been named for the World Cup, every team's 26-man squad, every single one of them will be enrolled on this thing called the FIFA Player App. So with your login information, with your own password, everything, and FIFA has set up an incredible technology that allows for analytics of every player's performance to be sent to the individual player few minutes after the game.
Wow.
So listen, you no longer need your coach to come and show you video technology of your own performance. The FIFA Player App will have all of that information. So it will tell you whether you made yourself available for a certain pass, whether the passes that you were making were breaking lines, or whether your tackles were successful, whether in fact, even the amount of distance that you covered per kilometer, the speed at which you covered those distances. Every single data point regarding your performance that you would ordinarily get from third-party apps, that maybe your video, your video analysis guy in your team will come and show you. All of that will be sent to your mobile phone on that app.
Wow. And
it is exclusive to you, every individual player. So FIFA has so many other cameras that are dedicated to just this. Okay, they have multiple cameras located around the pitch for maximum player coverage. It's unbelievable what FIFA is doing at this World Cup. And guess what? Here's the cherry on top of the
tell us
of the cake. All of your performance in the game, your pictures will be sent to you so you can share on social media immediately.
Hey.
Through the app. So you no longer have to chase your team's cameraman. Hey, Charlie, where the pictures be?
You know what?
Photo is becoming obsolete.
You know, when he said the cherry on top of the cake, I thought he was going to make a funny joke, because when he started talking about this wonderful piece of technology, it is, no doubt.
Absolutely.
I was thinking, I hope this thing has an automated voice and it's in Chi. You open the app and it will just say wabong. Like if you played a terrible game, that would be funny.
Then away.
That would be hilarious.
Let's develop one for GFA.
Yeah.
You know, like, send
for the
Don Bote's to him. Like, Don Bote, mini. You can send us your WhatsApp messages on 055 quadruple 1997 055 1111 997 055 1111997. Let us know, what do you think about all these new technologies being introduced into football for the World Cup, and definitely subsequently every other football, match that's going to be happening. Yeah, I really want to see this in Ghana.
Yeah. Now I have two very interesting questions. What the first question leads into the second. The first question is that sometimes during a football game the player kicks the ball too hard and the ball goes into the crowd. Is it legal for you to take that ball away? If yes, will they turn off the trackers on those balls so that when you take it, because it will be very funny.
The tracker works within.
So when it goes out of range, it cuts off. Like, it is just a random question because I was really bothered that some kid would take the ball and then all over the world, Adidas would just be looking at people who have the ball reeler, yes, there's hanging out there.
So we've got some messages here. Nana Kwesi says, if your bad woman is that effective like Antoine and does not miss, works to perfection, then support the Black Stars because we must save money. This initiative is vetted and approved and sponsored by Nana Kwesi with breakfast and Chosobolo and some goodies for the good one. So Nana Kwesi wants me to support Black Stars so that we'll lose and come home, man. I don't know if the whole of Ghana is supporting you. Yes, General Copy Spike in Kuma. The moment I see that, I know it's Douglas. I'm really enjoying the discussion. Football lover, what technology can do with games? Men are yet to know. My Google Pixel. Hey, yes, Douglas, your Google Pixel. Geek Squad, please ask. I learned there was a microchip in the balls that made some noise if the ball crossed the line. Please ask Fento to explain more on goal line technology. Okay, so Fento, we've got a few questions for you. Number one has to do with the ball, whether it makes a sound when it crosses the line, and if you could explain some more about goal line technology.
Yeah, so with goal line technology, it's not the ball that makes a sound. Cameras are installed on the goalpost, okay,
right,
tracking the movement of the ball, and they are set on the line as well. So when the ball crosses the line, those cameras, that technology automatically sends an alert to the referee. So it's not a noise that the referee uses, it's an alert the referee gets on his watch.
Like a notification,
so once
basically.
The referee gets that alert on his watch, then he's absolutely certain that the ball had crossed the line. And the full circumference of the ball has to cross the line. Even if it is, you remember in 2019, Liverpool lost the league title in the Premier League by 1 centimeter because only 1 centimeter of the ball was left on the line. The majority of the ball had crossed the line, except that 1 centimeter. And the goal line technology didn't deem that good enough to be a goal. So it didn't give the referee an alert. Yes. So it's that important. So if you notice, always pay attention. Every time it's a close call with goal line, when the ball hits maybe the underside of the crossbar and then it bounces on the line, the referee always looks at his watch because he wants to see if he's getting an alert or he's not. So if he gets an alert, then it's a goal. If he doesn't, then the ball didn't fully cross the line.
So the ball has to fully cross the line.
Fully.
Not even half.
Circumference has to cross the ball.
Not even 1 centimeter.
Not even 1 centimeter has to be on the line.
Wow. Okay.
The entire circumference has to cross the line. It's the same with, for example, penalty decisions. So if the penalty box that you see, if an incident happens, if a foul happens on the line, is deemed to be inside.
Right.
So, so that is why, in fact, so it is one of the most debatable points now in football. Why is it that when it comes to penalties, if the incident happened on the line, is deemed in, but when it comes to goal, if it's on the line, is deemed out? Why?
Yeah, we are curious too. Why? But then, okay, so when we were starting this show, I was talking about how I ever visited a stadium and the atmosphere was very heated. It was charged, as Winston put it. And I read that the stadium is going to have its first of a kind of cooling atmosphere. Now that's very interesting, like having air conditioning wherever you go.
Yeah, throughout the entire stadium.
I want that in my life because I can't stand this heat. Tell us about this. Tell us about this. I'm very, very curious.
Yeah. You know, when Qatar won the rights to host the World Cup,
Yeah.
a lot of people were very concerned about the heat in that country. Traditionally, the World Cup is played in the summer. Okay, June, July. Now, I can tell you for a fact, I have been to Qatar twice in the summer. Temperatures are hovering around 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. Now, in Ghana, imagine how hot it gets in Ghana. But in Ghana, it never even gets to 40 degrees.
No.
It's always 35. And when you step out, you're like, hey, and then you're kuntopana. Like you're fighting. You understand?
What?
But imagine 45 degrees Celsius in Qatar. It is impossible to play football under those conditions.
It's impossible to do anything.
Exactly. It's possible to even walk because I covered an athletics competition there, which was in September. And in September, it was almost drifting into winter, and temperatures were supposed to be dropping. But even that, it was hovering around 38 degrees, 40 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
I would walk, let's say, 100 meters from the media center to the stadium. By the time I get to the stadium, my entire shirt is dripping in sweat.
Wow.
It's that hot. So imagine having to play football for 90 minutes under those conditions. It's not possible. So what do? Qatar, the FIFA decided, let's move it to the coolest time of the year in Qatar. And that is in November, December. That's why this World Cup is being played in November, December. But even the coolest time of the year in Qatar, in November, December, we're still talking 35 degrees Celsius sometimes. So in addition to moving into the cooler part of the year in Qatar, Qatar, with all of the money that they have also decided to install air conditioning technology in 11 of the 12 stadiums that will be used for the World Cup. And this cooling system, I personally witnessed. Okay, so you see the stadium at the Al Khalifa International Stadium where the opening match will be played on Sunday. I've been inside it and I've witnessed how the air conditioning works. So they have air conditioning nozzles all around the stadium. It's almost like it forms a ring around the stadium, and all of them are blowing cool air into the pitch. And then you've got some of them above which is blowing cool air onto the stands. So the players on the pitch feel cool, and then the fans, the spectators on the stands also feel cool. Wow. And those air conditions are not even operated from inside the stadium. They're operated from a central control system where you have over 200 screens set up by the Qatar security that are controlling all of these things. So you can have, so the stadium can cool up to a temperature of, the playing surface that is, up to a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. And 20 degrees Celsius is really, really cool. It's like perfect conditions for football. And for the spectator stands, it can cool up to 22, 24 degrees Celsius. That is really cool. So you will have an absolute wonderful time watching the football in Qatar. And the technology that they're applying to it is also very sustainable. In fact, one of the most sustainable ways of doing any sort of air conditioning. So they have the air conditioning center, a station that is like 1 kilometer away from the stadium, where they're just basically chilling water. And then they connect that chilled water through a pipe onto the stadium. And then that chilled water is what is providing the air conditioning. So instead of using industrial AC vents, they are using a much more sustainable technology to implement this sort of air conditioning system. And all of this technology was developed inside Qatar. It was actually instituted in 2015 at the University of Qatar. It's unbelievable what Qatar are doing. But when you imagine that they're spending $220 billion at this World Cup, you would understand why this makes sense.
That is a very advanced humidifier.
Yeah, very advanced one. Well, speaking about technology being developed in Qatar, there's one final technology. Well, it's not the final one. We wish we could cover it all, but we're running out of time. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're talking about inclusion in the World Cup, something that we at Geek Squad are very excited about. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Imagine strutting into the most anticipated wedding of the year. Only to see 7 other girls wearing your exact same outfit.
You are special and one of a kind, and that's why whether it's voice, data, or SMS, you get to enjoy personalized offers tailored to your specific needs with MTN just for you. Dial star 141 hash or select your options on the My MTN app to redeem your unique just for you package on Ghana's best mobile network. MTN.
And we're back. If you're just joining us, you're late. But it doesn't mean that you're going to miss everything. We're talking about technology and the World Cup. And yeah, you can catch up with the whole show on Facebook, on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on Google Podcast. Just Google Joy Geek Squad. And you can listen to every episode right from when we started to today's episode. And subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And share with your friends so they can also learn something. And we're going to go back to the conversation. So, in this year's World Cup, something is going to happen. People who are visually impaired are going to be able to enjoy the World Cup. And this has been made possible by an app. The Bonacle was developed in Qatar. And it's exciting. So what is happening is that it will convert digital content around the World Cup into Braille. That will allow visually impaired fans to access the content and enjoy the World Cup. So, Fento, you've done a great job enlightening us about all the technology. Trust me and Winston, we had no idea that the tech was this deep and fun.
Yes.
Now we're looking at exploring, going to read more about it, even though we don't like football. But yeah, the technology is making us love the sport just for the tech. Not for the goals, because if I go and support their teams will lose. So tell us about this Bonacle app and how it's going to help the visually impaired to enjoy the World Cup as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of the greatest innovations of this FIFA World Cup. And this app, basically, like you indicated, is going to convert every digital content into Braille, so that visually impaired people can access the same information that you and I can access on the internet. And this is brilliant because FIFA just launched what they call the FIFA Plus. And the FIFA Plus is basically the digital destination of FIFA fandom, if you like. And they're collaborating with one of their sponsors, I believe is Hisense, and it's launched on their VIDA powered televisions, I believe, version of their industry. And all of the content there, including even some live games, cannot be accessed by visually impaired people, but like originally. But now, with this Barnacle technology, anyone that can read Braille, and that's the other thing, okay? So visually impaired person that can have this sort of access. But if that person can read Braille, then brilliant for them. And so they can enjoy the World Cup just as much as you and I. Digital content at the FIFA World Cup will be converted into Braille, which is basically the language for the visually impaired. So it's a brilliant piece of technology. Here's another piece of information that you guys might need, or anyone listening to me that might be interested in going to the Qatar World Cup. You have to remember that when you get to the World Cup, Qatar has over 22,000 security cameras in the stadiums. And in one of the stadiums that will host the final, they actually have technology, and AI and artificial intelligence technology, that can allow them to have access to all 80,000 spectators inside the stadium, every single seat. So if you go into Qatar and you think that you're in the stadium and you can just do whatever you like, there are 200 screens outside of Qatar in an operations center that's got all of the footage from the stadium, feeding them, basically focus on the fans. So don't go and mess up because you're being watched.
Wow.
Every single person in Qatar is being watched.
Big brother at its best.
How much security, apparatus these guys are deploying in trying to ensure that everybody conforms. And conformity is one of the biggest things in Qatari culture. So if you go to Qatar and you think that you're hiding to do so. For example, they say no alcohol consumption before 6 p.m. If you think you can carry Alomo bitters in your bag and then take it and go and hide in the corner and take a sip before you go to the stadium, my brother, you have to be careful because a camera could be watching you. That is if you're able to get it past customs. Because at the custom, they're stripping everybody. It's unrivaled technology they are deploying to ensure that nobody brings in any sort of contraband.
Right.
So they are leaving no stones unturned, these guys, to ensure that they deliver a problem-free World Cup.
Yeah, and this has been a very, very good and very enlightening episode of Geek Squad. When Geek Squad married with sports. See, you guys should be merging with us, not taking us off air. Right? Yeah, we should be working with you. When you guys talk the football, when we talk the tech, we are going to learn about VAR and offside technology. Winston is going to take a course in offside, so he can. All he's going to do is analyze offside.
I was going to say that I would be very excited to have a Formula One conversation now.
Yeah, we'll have that as well. But now we have right now in Ghana, football is what people eat, drink, and sleep. So let's learn football so we can come and sit here and analyze the matches, just as Fento has analyzed our tech. Okay. Thank you very much, Fento. It's been wonderful. You've done a great job. We've learned a lot. And if you heard what Fento said, if you're going to Qatar, don't take Alomo and go and hide it in a brown paper bag and think you're going to take a sip. 22,000 cameras looking at you and all your actions, all your activities. They will deport you or they will jail you or something. So yeah, we just got 60 seconds to the end of the show. My name is Kobe Spiking Chroma. Big shout outs to our producer, Prince Safo, who skillfully Ronaldo Likali
put this show
together because we're about to talk about FTX and people losing their crypto money, and he said no, let's talk about football. And we're like, we don't know nothing about football.
Had no hope in this show.
But we have learned so much and we're excited. So thank you very much to all the producers as well, Abe Kusan Kofi and Crispy. Thanks, Winston. My name is Kobe Spiking Kurma, and this has been Geek Squad. Catch you next week on another one. Thank you for your time.